Thanks for staying with us on TVWest. You're watching News Radar. I'm Victoria Ogudende. Here's what on the radar this hour. Governor Adeleke extends the olive branch to opposition, credits God and the people for his re-election as workers and supporters celebrate his return to office. Nigeria's inflation is further to 15.43% in July, down from June's 15.91% as the central bank holds rate, though food prices remain a concern. On the foreign scene, days of storm and flooding in Indiana leave at least 7 people dead. The victims include a 4-year-old boy, 2 men and 3 women. The deaths have occurred since the storms began on August 11. And in sports, Cameroon have won their first Women's African Cup of Nations title. We'll bring you the details of these stories and more very shortly. Now the news in detail. Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has described his re-election victory as one that belongs to God and the people of the state. In a statement released after the polls, the governor said he is deeply humble and grateful for the confidence reposed in him to serve another term. He commended the resilience, courage, and unwavering commitment of Osun people to democracy, assuring them he will not disappoint. Governor Adeleke called on all residents to embrace peace, forgiveness, and unity, declaring that there is no victor and no vanquished. He extended an olive branch to his fellow contestants and stressed that he remains the governor of all. He also observed a minute of silence for victims of the pre-election violence, praying for the repose of their souls. The governor urged traditional rulers, community leaders, and other stakeholders to lead the process of healing and reconciliation across the state. Looking ahead, Ademola said the people have entrusted him with another 4 years. He pledged to reinforce the administration's strength, correct its shortcomings, and build on the progress already made. Meanwhile, Governor Ademola Adeleke is appealing for peace and unity after his re-election in Osun State on Saturday. According to INEC, Adeleke of the Accord Party polled 511,067 votes. APC candidate Bola Oyebamiji scored 444,815 votes, while ADC's Najim Salam polled a total of 17,180 votes. Adeleke won in 19 of the state's 30 local government areas. President Bola Tinubu has congratulated the governor. He says he personally called Adeleke to commend him. Tinubu describes the outcome as a reflection of the people's confidence in the governor. He urges Adeleke to unite residents and work with everyone, regardless of political affiliation. The president also praised other candidates, INEC, and security agencies for a peaceful and transparent poll. Thousands of public service workers trooped the Abere Secretariat of the Osun State government in Osogbo on Monday morning to welcome Governor Ademola Adeleke back to office hours after winning his re-election. Adeleke was declared winner of the August 15, 2026 governorship election by the Independent National Electoral Commission, with the returning officer, Professor Joshua Olalekan Ogunwale, announcing at the INEC headquarters in Osogbo that Adeleke polled 511,067 votes to defeat the All Progressive Congress candidate Bola Oyebamiji, who scored 444,815 votes. The result gave Adeleke a winning margin of 62,252 votes. The declaration triggered jubilation across the state, with celebrations especially pronounced in Osogbo and in Ede, the governor's hometown, where supporters sang, danced, and chanted in celebration. This marks Adeleke's second term, following his 2022 victory as PDP candidate, though he contested this election on the platform of the Accord Party. The African Democratic Congress has congratulated Governor Ademola Adeleke on his victory in Saturday's Osun State governorship election, describing it as a win for democracy and the people of the state. In a statement issued on Sunday by its National Publicity Secretary, Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, the ADC said Adeleke's success came despite what it called overwhelming intimidation and the massive deployment of state power by the ruling All Progressive Congress. The party praised the people of Osun for standing firm against intimidation, manipulation, and the full weight of the APC political machine. According to the ADC, the people of Osun have shown that no political machine is greater than a determined electorate, adding that when citizens resolve to vote for the candidate and direction they prefer, the ballots can still prevail. While celebrating the outcome, the ADC raised serious questions about the Independent National Electoral Commission. It demanded an explanation for why the uploading of results to the INEC result viewing portal, known as IREV, was suspended for nearly 4 hours on the election night. INEC Chairman Professor Joash Amupiton has formally closed the Osun 2026 Situation Room. The closure follows the successful conclusion of the governorship election and the declaration of results early Sunday morning. Amupiton commended staff for their dedication and professionalism throughout the process. He acknowledged the long hours many put in and the sacrifices made under the demanding conditions. He described the Osun election as a milestone, not a destination. He says the lessons learned must shape preparations for the 2027 general election. The chairman urged staff to sustain vigilance, transparency, and strict neutrality in their duties. INEC declared Ademola Adeleke winner on Sunday with 511,067 votes. APC candidate Bola Oyebamiji polled 444,815 votes. ADC candidate Najim Salam came third with 17,180 votes. An unidentified woman has been found dead inside a church premises in the Obelewo area of Osogbo, Osun State, with her left wrist reportedly severed. The Nigerian police force says detectives visited the scene after the body was discovered. According to the police force public relations officer, Annie Iniedu, preliminary investigations show that the woman had allegedly been slaughtered while her left wrist was cut off and taken away by unknown persons. The police says the circumstances surrounding the killing and the motive behind it are yet to be established. Efforts are ongoing to identify the deceased and determine what led to her death. The corpse has been deposited at a hospital mortuary for autopsy, while the State Command Investigation Department continues its investigation. One person has reportedly died in a lone accident along Owode town in Osun State in the aftermath of Saturday's governorship election. An eyewitness, Tijani Omotoye, said they witnessed the immediate aftermath of the crash, describing the victim as bleeding heavily and severely injured with fractures to the head. The victim was said to have later died from his injuries, according to persons familiar with the incident. Another resident, who spoke on condition of anonymity, claimed the crash may have been linked to celebrations over Governor Ademola Adeleke's re-election victory. TVWest could not independently verify the claim linking the accident to election celebrations, nor obtain official confirmation of the death as of the time of filing this report. The identity of the deceased has yet to be ascertained, and the Federal Road Safety Corps has yet to officially confirm the incident. The DG of Akure, Oba Alade Toyinbo Alade Lucy, has directed the closure of all markets, shops, and stores across Akure on August 17 and September 1. The shutdown is to mark the annual Haheregbe and Amole festivals. The monarch's chief press secretary, Adeye Michael, issues the statement. Traders and shops owners are warned not to open their businesses or engage in trading on the 2 days. Only registered pharmacies are permitted to operate. Patient medicine stores are not covered by the exemption. There will be no restriction on the movement of people or vehicles. The palace urges residents and business owners to comply with the directive. Adeleke pledges to build on his achievements and correct his shortcomings in the second term. The Ekiti state government has called for calm following complaints of offensive odors in parts of Ado Ekiti, the state capital. The Commissioner for Information, Taiwo Olatunbosun, says the government has commenced investigations, inspections, and surveillance in affected areas to determine the source of the odor. Olatunbosun says preliminary inspections identified activities that could contribute to foul odors, including indiscriminate sewage disposal, poor waste management, and the discharge of decomposed materials into public channels. He says enforcement measures have been taken against some offenders, including prosecution, sealing of premises, clearing of environmental nuisances, and fumigation of affected areas. The commissioner adds that the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources has conducted hair and gas analysis to obtain scientific information that could help identify the nature and possible source of the holdup. Residents have been urged to remain calm and avoid spreading unverified information, while anyone with useful information is encouraged to contact the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources on 081-455-71085. You're watching News Radar on TV West. We'll take a short break now and return with more news. Stay with us.
You are watching the test transmission of TV West. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to our social media handle at TVWest NG across all social networks. Thanks for staying with us.
TV West. Reporting the West, inspiring progress.
Welcome back to News Radar on TV West. Now to the rest of the news. In business, Nigeria's inflation rate has fallen further to 15.43% in July. That is down from 15.19% recorded in June. The National Bureau of Statistics disclosed this in its Consumer Price Index report released on Monday. The Bureau says food inflation stood at 5.56% on a month-on-month basis. On a monthly basis, the headline inflation rate was 1.57% in July. This suggests that the pace of price increases is slowly compared to previous months. The latest figures come as the Central Bank of Nigeria keeps its benchmark interest rate at 26.5%. The Monetary Policy Committee retained the rates at its meeting in July. Analysts say the continued drop in inflation may influence future decisions by the central bank. However, food prices remain a concern for many households across the country. The Debt Management Office is offering federal government bonds worth 1.1 trillion naira for sale on Monday. The auction features 3 tenors. They include a 10-year note worth 250 billion naira, a 15-year paper worth 750 billion naira, and a 20-year instrument worth 100 billion naira. Investors must pay 1,000 naira per unit with a minimum subscription of 50 million naira. The bonds are backed by the full faith and credit of the federal government. They qualify for tax exemption and can be traded on the National Exchange and FMDQ platforms after the auction. The federal government has introduced new fiscal incentives aimed at attracting fresh investments into deep offshore oil and gas projects. Under the new policy, qualifying projects can restart the profit oil sharing scale at 70-30 in favor of contractors, even where existing production within the same contract area has already moved to a higher government share. The provision is contained in the Deep Offshore Oil and Gas Project Incentives Tax Remission Order 2026, signed by President Bola Tinubu on August 6th and gazetted by the federal government. The incentive applies to a new greenfield crude oil or non-associated gas projects for which a final investment decision had not been taken when the order commenced. The government is also offering production tax credits of up to $3 per barrel for some qualifying oil projects, while projects with higher reserves can receive up to $4.50 per barrel. For deep offshore gas projects, tax credits of up to $1 per thousand standard cubic feet will be available, subject to the conditions of the order. The government says the measures are designed to encourage investments in deep offshore fields, which require huge capital and advanced technology. However, petroleum economist Professor Emeritus Wumi Iledare says the incentives must generate additional value for Nigeria and not simply transfer government revenue to investors. The Nigeria Revenue Service is expected to issue implementation guidelines within 45 days. And on the foreign scene, days of storms and flooding in Indiana leave at least 7 people dead. The victims include a 4-year-old boy, 2 men and 3 women. The deaths have occurred since the storm began on August 11. Floodwaters peak in Indianapolis, White River early on Sunday. High levels are expected to hold for several hours before starting to recede. Hundreds of homes along the river and its canals are evacuated. City shelters remain open. First responders use boats to rescue people stranded by the rising water. The White River crests at more than 24 feet in Henderson and Noblesville, breaking records set in 1930. Indianapolis Mayor Joe Osset described the flooding as the worst the city has seen in more than 30 years. About 1,000 utility customers remain without power. President Donald Trump approved a request for federal disaster assistance to support response and recovery efforts. Hezbollah holds a funeral for a family of 6 killed in an Israel airstrike in Lebanon. The coffins of the 6 family members are wrapped in Hezbollah flag and carried into the cemetery. Relatives and supporters gather for the burial. Some cry while others carry posters of the deceased. The strike forms part of ongoing cross-border exchanges between Israel and Hezbollah. In a separate incident in Gaza, an Israel airstrike kills another family of 6 in Gaza City. Health officials say the attack hits Al-Masri family home in the Sabra neighborhood while the family is sleeping. Faraz and Saul Sebel Al-Masri and their 4 children die in the strike. Medics report that at least 12 Palestinians are killed in Israel attacks on the same day. The violence continues despite a U.S.-backed ceasefire that has been in place for more than 9 months. Gaza's health ministry says more than 1,100 Palestinians have been killed since the ceasefire took effect. In entertainment, Nigerian Afrobeat star Rema has declared himself the prince of Afrobeat, saying the genre will not evolve if artists only make music that appeals to their fans. Speaking at his concert over the weekend, the singer said he makes music he personally enjoys before considering whether it would appeal to his audience. Rema argued that artists must be willing to experiment with new sounds if Afrobeat is continued to evolve. His comments come amid growing criticism from some Afrobeat fans over artists incorporating foreign sounds and the other genres into their music in a bid to reach international audiences. Despite the backlash, several Afrobeat artists have continued to experiment with different sounds, further expanding their genre's global appeal. And in sports, Cameroon have won their first Women's African Cup of Nations title. The indomitable Lioness beat Malawi 3-0 in Sunday's final in Rabat. Mari Ngamanga scores twice in the first half. Naomi Eto'o had a 3rd goal before the break. Cameroon had lost 3 previous finals, all to Nigeria. They make it 4th time lucky against the tournament's debutants. When the competition began in late July, neither Cameroon nor Malawi were regarded as likely finalists. Defending champions Nigeria were the team to beat. Cameroon only qualified after CAF expanded the tournament from 12 to 16 teams. They had earlier lost homes and away to Algeria in the final qualifying round. Malawi, ranked 153rd in the world, enjoyed a fairy tale run to the final but are outclassed by the more experienced side. Both finalists qualify for the 2027 Women's World Cup in Brazil, along with semi-finalists Morocco and Algeria. Cameroon collects $10 million in prize money. Nigeria remained the record holder with 10 titles, but exited at their quarter-final stage. Arsenal have won the 26th Community Shield with a dominant 3-0 victory over Manchester City in Cardiff. Ricardo Calafiori opened the scoring after just 23 seconds. Kai Havertz doubled the lead with a downward header in the 28th minute. Martin Odegaard added the third 3 minutes into the second half of an excellent fake shot sent City goalkeeper Gianluigi Donnarumma the wrong way. Greek forward Christos Stolis starred with 2 assists on his competitive debut for the Gunners. The win gives Arsenal their 18th Community Shield title. It also marks a tough start for the new City manager Enzo Maresca in his first competitive game since replacing Pep Guardiola. Before we go, let's share this opportunity news with you. Meta has opened applications for the AI Academic Nigerian Pitchathon. The program targets Nigerian startups and developers building innovative solutions with Meta's AI technologies. Shortlisted participants will pitch live at GTEx Nigeria. The top 2 winners will each receive $5,000 in equity-free funding and Meta advertising credits. They will also attend Meta's Regional AI Summit in Istanbul this November. The initiative is a partnership between Meta and Nigeria's 3MTT Digital Talent Program under the Federal Ministry of Communications. Applications close on August 21st. 10 successful teams will be invited to pitch at GTEx Nigeria. To apply, visit the application page here, tinyurl.com/2YHAR2ANCW. Again, tinyurl.com/2YHAR2ANCW. And that's News Radar for this hour. I'm Victoria Ogudende. Thank you for watching.